At the pinnacle of ancient Greek philosophy, Socrates was a giant of thought that cannot be ignored. His wisdom and spirit of exploration deeply attracted people's attention. Before we explore the story of Socrates, let's review some of his classic quotes that still inspire people today. Socrates quotations. Wisdom begins with wonder. All human souls are immortal, but the soul of the righteous is immortal and holy. Let him who moved the world first move himself. I am really too honest a person to be a politician and live life. No evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. He and his men were not ignored by the gods. Our prayers should be for general blessings, for God knows best what is good for us. A moral system based on relative emotional values is nothing more than an illusion, a thoroughly vulgar idea that has no voice and nothing real about it. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. The end of life is to be like God, and the soul that follows God will also be like God. If a man is proud of his wealth, he should not be praised until he knows how he uses it. The injured person should not retaliate because it is wrong to do something unjust. No matter how much we suffer from him, we cannot hurt anyone or do evil to anyone. I just wish that ordinary people had unlimited power to do harm, then they might have unlimited power to do good. Where there is awe, there is fear, but not everywhere, for fear may have a wider reach than awe. Not life, but living well, is what matters. He is the richest man who is content with the least, for contentment is natural wealth. I know I'm smart because I know I don't know anything. Beware the sterility of a busy life. The best way to live honorably in this world is to be who we pretend to be. Do whatever you want. The deepest desires often come from the deadliest hatreds. The unexamined life is not worth living. Worthless people live just to eat and drink, valuable people eat and drink just to live. Use your time to improve yourself through the writings of others so that you can easily access what others have worked so hard on. Slowly fall into friendship, but when you get in, stay steadfast. He is a brave man who will not run away but stick to his post and fight the enemy. I know nothing but my ignorance. To know is to know that you know nothing. This is the meaning of true knowledge. I am the smartest man in the world because one thing I know is that I know nothing. Anyway, get married. If you get a good wife, you will become happy. If you get a bad one, you will become a philosopher. An honest person is always a child. Beauty is a temporary tyranny. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we know about life, ourselves, and the world around us. True knowledge consists in knowing that you know nothing. Once equal to man, woman becomes his superior. Death may be the greatest of all blessings to mankind. I conclude that it is not intelligence that enables poets to write poetry, but an instinct or inspiration, such as you find in prophets and seers, who deliver all their sublime messages without having the slightest idea what they mean. The way to get a good reputation is to work on being who you want to appear. The important thing is not to live, but to live correctly. As for marriage or celibacy, let a man go the way he wants to go and he will surely repent. If all misfortunes were put into a common heap, and everyone had to have a share, most people would be content to take it themselves and leave. Beauty is the bait that seduces man with the lure of joy to enlarge his kind. The average person does not seem to realize that those who truly apply themselves to philosophy in the right way are directly and voluntarily preparing themselves for death and death. The poet is only the interpreter of the gods. Welcome to subscribe to my channel. Luck and love are with you. Socrates 470 BC, 399 BC, an ancient Greek philosopher, and his follower Plato and Plato's student Aristotle are collectively known as the three Greek sages. He is considered the founder of Western philosophy. He left no writings, and his thoughts and life were recorded in the plays of later scholars, mainly his student Plato and the contemporary playwright Aristophanes. Socrates' contribution to the field of ethics is recorded in Plato's book Dialogues. Socrates was born into poverty during the Golden Age of Athens under the rule of Pericles. His father was a sculptor and his mother was a midwife. Socrates' wife was Xanthippe, and they had 3 sons. They were all very young when Socrates died. Legend has it that Xanthippe was a bad-tempered and nagging shrew. But this may be due to Xenophon's exaggerated description of her. There is a famous story. Once Xanthippe made a fuss with Socrates, and then poured garbage and sewage all over Socrates. Socrates said, "After a thunderstorm, there must be a shower." Socrates wrote no works of his own, and most of what is known today about Socrates comes from many different records: the dialogues recorded by Socrates' follower Plato, the writings of Xenophon, and Aristotle, the works of Phin and Aristotle. In addition, Aristophanes' record of Socrates was not intended to record the true life of Socrates, but to ridicule and satirize him. Another complication is that ancient Greek scholars often attributed their own concepts, theories, and sometimes personal characteristics to their mentors, and Plato followed this tradition, so Plato's Socrates' records are likely to be mixed with his own ideas. Some characters in the record, such as Socrates' friend Alcibiades, indicate in the dialogue that Socrates had joined the Athenian army in the Peloponnesian War. Plato's Symposium also pointed out that Socrates was quite brave personally. On one occasion Socrates followed Alcibiades on the battlefield to protect him and perhaps save his life. In the famous painting The Death of Socrates, there is a floor tile under Socrates' bed, which may depict one of his escape plans. As shown in the dialogue between Socrates and Crito, the reason Socrates refused to escape was because he understood that he must abide by the laws of the city-state and obey the citizens and judges of the city-state, as well as the results of the trial by the jury. Otherwise, he would violate his contract with the city-state and further undermine the authority of Athenian law, which would violate the principles advocated by Socrates. In the end, Socrates drank poisonous pansy juice and died. According to the Phaedo, Socrates died quite calmly and stoically accepted his sentence. The life of Socrates is like a wonderful philosophical interpretation. Through his unique way of thinking and guiding dialogues, he profoundly influenced the development of ancient Greek philosophy. His story is not only a part of ancient Athens, but also the pinnacle of the history of human thought. The pursuit of truth, humble wisdom, and profound introspection advocated by Socrates have left precious spiritual wealth for future generations. His story is an adventure of thought and an enlightenment of the human soul.